Seeing the countdown there, loading on up. And away we go. Acid plant for map number 1 of this ZVT. Zanster looked pretty weak against the mech, but when we saw DeMusliM earlier against a laser, he actually had some pretty, honestly, lackluster mech himself. Actually, both the games from DeMusliM were pretty lackluster, I would say. The first one especially, though, the mech play was just... He lost a 4 for no reason, he lost his next 4, and he just absolutely fell apart. The bio play was a bit more, you know, a bit more of an effort. A laser just looked too good there, more so than DeMusliM just looking... Again, not to sound harsh, but bad, and that's what he did look when he tried to play the mech. Like, he made mistakes that weren't forced. It wasn't like he was just being outplayed, it wasn't like he was just, you know, a laser's playing so well that he's like, oh god, you know, I messed up here during this big fight. It was like, he dropped a 4 into units and watched it die. Like, it just wasn't how mech was meant to be played. It's just not the DeMusliM we're used to seeing. To the top left-hand side, he is the blue Terran player. Can he advance through to then play against Stefano in the next round? This is DeMusliM from Wind and Rain, the UK's finest. Bottom right, our red Zerg player from Storm Gaming is Zanster. Guys, I know there's a lot of you discussing which matchup we should show. There is so many streams in both of these games that if you do want to watch the one that I don't focus on, I am 99% sure you'll be able to find it elsewhere. TeamLiquid.net, on the right hand side, there's a calendar. When there's a calendar, there's a list of streamers who are cast into this tournament. There's only 2 series going on at a time right now, basically, so it's very easy to find the other match if you want to get into it. So, again, I can't please everyone, and I personally would rather cast the ZVT. I know for a fact that the ZVT just in general gets better viewership. So for me, it's kind of just a no-brainer, guys. I'm sorry. I love TLO. I love Bly. But, I mean, it's DeMusliM. It's Zanster. They're great players. They're popular players. It's TvZ versus ZVZ. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. We will give you guys the updates from TLO versus Bly, though. We will show you any of the highlights, any of the major moments, big battles, etc. when they arise. For now, we'll watch this Reaper start to murder some Zerglings. Only 2 lings here, actually, initially. Actually 4. Which means that he doesn't have too many here. He's just going to be seeing the Reaper able to apply pressure for a decent amount of time. And we're all going to see a drone even taking a little bit of damage. Loses 1 Zergling so far. And another Zergling getting low. And he will maybe die for it. Not really worthwhile. Your tumor will not be able to be placed just yet either. Choosing for the inject instead. But that is something that Reaper will look for when the creep tumor gets placed at the front to try and get that cancel. Starport on the way up in the main base. You see this factory drop it onto the reactor here. A couple of Hellions on the way out. This barracks making space for itself, looking to throw down some sort of an add-on, usually a tech lab. Pretty much always a tech lab. There it is. Tech lab starts to build on our barracks just here. And well, this Marine starting to push away this Overlord. So Overlord away from the main base, not going to be able to scout anything just yet. I mean, to be fair, right now there isn't anything to scout. Here comes that creep tumor, but the Reaper pushed far away, so actually Zanster pushing it away at a good time to be able to take the creep tumor at the front without it being pressured by that Reaper. So that's actually going to work out quite nicely there. And the creep tumor will complete, and creep will start to spread out forwards. Third hatchery from Zanster to the side. Already getting set to finish up, and Marine starts to target this Overlord down. So lots of damage being done. A couple of Marines is going to be finishing this off here. And again, I mean, the information gained, well, he sees the medevac, and that's pretty good info. He doesn't get to see the armory, which just places on the natural just after the Overlord kind of commits in a direction, so he misses that. But seeing the medevac's a pretty good telltale sign that usually there are going to be Hellbats. Medevac can obviously heal Hellbats, if we had this discussion in chat earlier today. But also, I mean, it's just a very popular build where you drop 4 Hellbats into the main, you kind of run by with 4 Hellbats at the third base, and that combination can actually be very difficult to deal with. Initial Hellion drop here is going to be found by Zerglings though, and it's around. I mean, that's what we kind of saw earlier from DeMusliM as well. Micro mistakes and just moments of, you know, attention lapsing, where it's not the usual DeMusliM. We don't usually see DeMusliM losing 1 Hellion of his first 4 Hellion drop because there's Lings already in position. So a small mistake there by DeMusliM already. And that worries me because, again, he was making little mistakes like that against a laser, and that led to him being completely shut down. And yes, I think a laser's a stronger player than Zanster, but if a laser can find weaknesses because DeMuslim's making mistakes, I'm pretty sure Zanster will be able to as well. As we do see, well, here we go. The Hellbat's going to split to the natural and the third base in the end. Actually, he doesn't morph the Hellbats in just yet. He stops here for a moment, so he doesn't keep pushing forwards. Now he does. Going after the Queen, of course. There is a transfuse or two available. They might as well come in. A nice split, but that just means that the Queens are going to be able to get some damage onto the Hellbat. One medevac into the main. There's another Queen, though. It's a dead medevac. Oh my god, he injects! The Spore Crawler gets the kill anyways. Over on the left-hand side, a couple of Banes went off, and only 2 Hellbats remain. Repair is going to continue to work his way through this as well, and we are just going to be seeing these things popping out to pretty much clean this up. I mean, okay, some lost mining time here, but I really don't think this was a success at all. Resources lost is pretty similar. I guess he did stop some mining, right? You know, Income League does peek up towards DeMuslim's favor for a while here. Okay. Okay. So it wasn't completely terrible, right? Like, yes, losing the medevac here was a bit wasteful. Maybe he wouldn't have done much more anyways. Maybe there was some more potential in it, but he still got a fair amount done as this Raven came across the map to maybe try and get a bit of a follow-up somewhere. Not really much to do. Throws Auto Turrets down on the hatchery. I mean, he's not going to kill the hatchery, but I guess he'll damage it a bit, bring it a bit lower for later. He's actually pretty close in fairness. It's down to 100 HP. A few seconds earlier, maybe that Raven would have had some real justification to throw in the Auto Turrets down there. Maybe he really could have gotten it close to being taken down. Vehicle weapons on the way, so just getting confirmation. I mean, the factory's obviously confirmation enough, but just confirm on stream it is going to be mech play. And DeMusliM setting up a 4th command center already as his third moves out into the location. Can Zanster shut this down as that third base moves out? I don't think so. I think there's a few too many units right now. The fact DeMusliM still has a bunch of Marines that he made earlier is actually going to be very important and very kind of powerful in terms of helping him to defend against these attacks. He's going to run through in towards the natural. They are actually going to try and grab a siege tank here. It kind of puts itself in the corner to minimize surface area, but still not enough. Double Raven dropping Auto Turrets now, but the Lings are already elsewhere, hunting down SCVs. 1 worker, 2 workers going down. And the Lings, again, obviously, they do what Lings do, which is run around into the corners of your base just to force you to stay out of position for as long as possible to maybe open up other opportunities for damage to be done. Lings and Banes will gather towards the lower left side. Anton is apparently done with being aggressive for the moment, at least right away. Obviously getting in towards the natural scene, the kind of units that were coming out, the Double Raven, the Hellbats. He didn't specifically see the factories, but he should know that this is mech now, and that's probably why we see the switch in towards that road drawing right away. We'll also see the infestation bit still coming down as well. Lings and Banes are working their way through these rocks here, so some damage. Hellions to the right side, able to get rid of a Zerglin as well. Number 4 is about to finish up. So we'll see those Lings just pulling back and going to jump on towards these rocks once again. So going to work his way through this, opening up the map. Again, I mean, it's an annoying position, you know, if tanks siege up over here and he fires across or something. It's more of a bio, like marine tank sort of thing, but there's still a possibility that it can be an annoyance if a mech player sets up tanks on that side and uses it to push around it, for example. Hydralisk Den on the way up now from Zanster in the main base. He's got the Hive on the way too. So Hive, Hydralisk Den, +2 Carapace, +1 missiles, Roach Speed as well. Bane's actually going to try and do something over here. They find a couple of SCVs, I guess, in the mineral line. Not even a couple, just the one. I guess the missile turret low. I thought he was going to go off on this and at least get 2, but then he continued on with the other Baneling, which obviously really wasn't too successful at all. Now, as the Hive finishes, Zanster obviously gets options to start dealing with this mech in a more efficient manner. And the most simple of those is the Vipers. The ability to Blinding Cloud and Abduct is going to be very important. The other option in the kind of the not so far off future is the Greater Spire. You can see the Spire already on the way up now. But it's still going to take a little while until he's going to be comfortable enough to take time to invest resources into Brood Wolves. DeMuslim's actually on 87 SCVs, which is a crazy, crazy amount of workers. It means that his full bases are fully saturated. He's actually just pumping income into his bank. As he pumps money into his bank, catches Hellions, the few Hellions getting caught off guard, it just means he's able to replace these units so easily. And once he goes for one big push, the second big push is actually not going to be far behind it at all. So DeMusliM, 165 is supply. It's the sort of time when mech players start to think about pushing out, plus 2 mech weapons is finishing very soon. So sort of choices are getting to that point where they can start to be made. Quick update on Bly vs TLO Game 2 for you guys, because I know some of you are interested. TLO playing Hydras and Roaches against the Mutalist style from Bly, and that is still just being established at the moment. So 8 minutes in, it's equal workers, it's equal bases. Bly just taking a slightly faster fourth, which is pretty natural if you have the Mutalisks. I would say right now this really is anyone's game, but TLO's defending well against the Mutas. He hasn't taken too much damage, which generally does bode well, I would say. Now we do see Roaches and Hydras pushing through a couple tanks already, just on their own, not really protected by anything. Continuing up this ramp, that would probably be a mistake. 2 more tanks off over to the right-hand side, a little bit too strong. To the left-hand side, this run by got shut down as well. 5 workers in the last few moments, but again, 5 workers against a 90 SCV DeMusliM. Oh dear, now he's only on 86 SCVs, what a shame. Plus 3 vehicle weapons starting up on this armory as well, so still upgrading this. I just think like DeMusliM maxing out now. Okay, his army's not going to be huge because of his work account, but boy, is he going to have the money to rebuild. And if he gets a 5th base up right away here as well, that's only going to help. He's got 4 tanks in position to deal with this run by, although Ling's getting on top of those tanks. This makes it very difficult for him to do too much, although 1 tank lost for the entire run by of units being killed. Wouldn't say that that is too much of an issue as well, either. Just pushing through to the center of the map. Some creep just being clean, so you can actually take this. Ooh, the army's going to jump on this, apparently. Oh, big anti-armor missile. I'm not sure if actually Zanster can keep on fighting now. The Hellions alone, they already roast Hydras. Hydras minus 3 armor, they're going to roast them even faster. It's like turning the oven up to max and beyond, breaking the knob off. And we see Zanster is just going to be in some trouble. He's going to get rid of that anti-armor missile soon, but DeMuslim's still pressing forwards. Free Command Center is currently building as well, so he's got backup bases to come on down. Tank setting himself up in a good siege spread. This is where these Vipers are going to be absolutely essential. They need to come in, hit good blinding clouds, good abducts. They need to get something crazy right now. You do see this ball being abducted to the other side, but isn't actually being killed off very quickly at all. DeMuslim still just pushing on forwards and having a pretty great time while pushing forwards here. Finally that 4 goes down. This tank actually got abducted over here. Still hasn't been killed. It's just been sat here picking up kills. 9 kills as it goes down. This tank killing off this base as well. Anton has some units off to the left-hand side, but now Hellions find this base over to the right. They morph into Hellbats very quickly with smart service, and now 18, 20 drones are dead, and this hatchery probably going to go down as well, because Zanster has to push through these tanks before you can even get to this base to clean out those Hellbats. Just finally coming around the other side, so you will start to clean this up. But there's actually nothing coming from the south at the same time. Broodlord's finally on the way in. DeMusliM building a bunch of 4s as a way to try and combat those. We'd like to maybe see some Vikings as well, perhaps. We'll see how well the 4s alone do. 86 workers, maxed out supply to DeMusliM. 5 bases, 6 base opportunities are there for that. Still holds his position to the right. Finally sees the Broodlords. Finally he's like, okay, ciao, see you later, boys. Finally pulls this army back, and the fact he retains so much of this without losing any of it is fantastic, because usually with these fights the mech player finally gets cleaned up, and that's where the Zerg's like, okay, I got a step back onto the ladder. I can start pushing back to the top of this game now. No, not in this game, because DeMuslim's still maxed out. He just needs a few moments to get ready for the Broodlords. That's all he's missing, and I think he's looking pretty calm and collected about it. As you see, Bly starting to push, Zanster starting to push forwards. Picture in picture will show you the Bly TLO game, maxed out armies as TLO sets up aggressively with lurkers against Bly's army. Mutas are still trying to cause some issues and catching Hydras astray every now and then. TLO's supply is actually dropping pretty quick. It looks like the lurkers have not been in high enough numbers, and without enough anti-air, those Mutas are going to clean up his army as well. So that's happening in the picture in picture, and actually we might even leave it on to see a GG from TLO. He might not tap out just yet. He did clean out all the Ravages, but it's the fact he loses all of his Roaches. The supplies right now 170 to 130. It's the Mutalist play from Bly that looks as though it's going to carry him through into the next round of qualification here in the WCS Challenger qualifier. Okay, TLO's not going to tap out yet, but it's a big advantage to Bly. Looks as though Bly will be the one to make this work. In the meantime, Zanster was pushing forward, but did pull back pretty quickly. Albats, tanks, 4s, pushing their way down towards the right, or pushing their way down through the right-hand side. A few Broodlords that just set themselves up here as well. I mean, is there enough 4s and Vikings to fight this? Well, Hellbats are here to kind of deal with the Broodlings. I like the SCVs here to repair as well. There we go. Big fight will start to break on now. Green's in the front in some trouble. A single parasitic bomb lands on one Viking, which is going to be repaired anyways. Viking's staying alive as the Four's trying to fight as well. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a bad fight for Zanster. It's just that DeMusliM has so much behind it. And again, you know, I feel like, again, spinning record, saying the same thing again and again. DeMusliM can just rebuild and rebuild and rebuild. He still has 1.8k, 1.6k in the bank, and supply sit pretty steady and even here. Broodlords are continuing to fall as well. These couple of Vikings on the side are picking up some more kills. If he gets the Viper, that's a big pickup too. It's expensive. It's needed for the next fight probably. And Zanster comes out of this sure with an army supply lead. But with 2 Broodlords remaining against 5 4s in production, Vikings, Hellions, it just doesn't look as though it's going to be enough. Bly, by the way, takes game 2 against TLO, securing that series and moving through to the next round of play, which is against Lambo. So Bly, Lambo in the decider match to see. That's a qualifying match, actually. So that's coming up as our second screen in the near future. Roaches, Hydras, Ravagers. Starting to move in towards the upper right side. There's command centers floating off in the distance. A few more drones here of Zanster just gathering together. 2 orbitals from DeMusliM just sat off to the left-hand side as well. These 2 Hellions are going to come back over and they're going to move off into Hellbats just to kill this Roach. Poor Roach never really stood a chance, did he? DeMusliM trying to take the top side of the map. Obviously a moment or two here for DeMusliM to rebuild, but while he needs to rebuild, I'm sure the action's going to start picking up once again. Roaches and Hydras top right-hand side, pushing this command center away. It's going to be roasting their way through a few more of these drones. The bottom left is actually going to be droneless at the moment. At least for a moment, way before they were going to survive, but the Hellions ran right into them. Yeah, what a great trade. Picking off drones for Hellions is always going to just be detrimental for the Zerg player. Again, you know, credit where it's due. Zanster's maxed out. He's ready to fight again, but you look at the unit composition. 2 Broods, 28 Roaches, 9 Hydras, 3 Vipers. It's like a mid-game. It's like, you know, hey, I'm getting on a bit mid-game composition. Like, it just doesn't fight against a maxed-out mech army. Not without a massive bank behind it. Like, this is the army you're meant to have when you then have a bank built up, so that when you trade, you rebuild Broodlords and stuff. When he trades here, he's not going to rebuild Broodlords or anything. He's going to build nothing. He's got 150 gas in the bank, 300 minerals. It's not going to be successful. These Roaches alone are struggling to kill these 4s, and that is just bringing Zanster's supply lower and lower. So we go now, going to push down into this base. The 2 Broodlords have multiplied to 4. That's where some of Zanster's money's gone in recent times, but the Viking count is just so high. These Broods are not going to last very long at all. And I think you can already realize that that's kind of going on. 1 Broodlord falls, corrupt to start a full parasitic bomb is good. 1 Viking though just splits away nice and quickly. Another parasitic bomb, 1 more as well. And DeMusliM just continues to split these away, and now the Broodlords are unprotected more or less. The Hydras on the ground are not going to get the job done. Twins try to transfuse, but that is the end of the game. GG's. DeMusliM takes game. Help us run more tournaments as well. You can donate, you can cheer. All of it helps us out. All of it allows us to, well, do more StarCraft, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? More and more and more StarCraft. And that's what we like. That's what we love here on the channel. Top right-hand side, our blue Zerg player from Storm Gaming, Zanster. Bottom left, Red Terran from Wind and Rain, DeMusliM. 1-0 up in this series. $16-bit for map number 2 is a large map. Mech definitely playable here. Sometimes maybe even more favorable than Bio because it is a large map. It is hard to push across. It's not as difficult as, say, Crossborn Darkness Sanctuary. The map is also in the middle better than Darkness Sanctuary because it's not going to allow the Zerg to flank on in. But it is a large map. It's difficult to go from base to base. So it's that is definitely going to be a little bit of a struggle. Actually, going to be finishing up here soon. After this, again, a reminder of what matches are coming up. The winner of this plays Stefano. The winner of that plays Geralt. So we are guaranteed at least 2 more best of 3s after this. And if you guys are feeling it, we can cast some of the replays from today's qualifier that didn't make it onto our stream. Obviously, they might have been casted elsewhere. But we could cast a few replays at the end of the stream as well to wrap things up a bit. If things are really going great, we're really feeling it, maybe we could do the NA qualifier as well, but NA qualifier is a little way away, so maybe not something we're going for just yet. I don't know, it depends how we're feeling, you know. Depends how we're feeling when we get a bit closer towards the NA qualifier. We'll figure it out, you know. We'll figure it out. This ZVT Game 2 is starting. In the meantime, the first game of the qualifying match, Bly versus Lambo, is starting, and Bly is already 12 pooling over in that series. So 12 pool from Bly, that's starting up, and we will keep you updated with anything that's going on there. We have that picture-in-picture to work for you guys if it works out. What's up, Andy Man? Thank you for the 17-month free sub. Appreciate the support, bro. Hope you're doing well, man. I love SC. Let's talk about SC. Yay, SC. Twitch chat. Yay, SC. I feel when the mods try and regain control of chat via subscription message. Does it work? I'm not sure. Reaper here is working his way through as Zergling. Ling speed is on the way. Hatchery dropping down on the third base. We are having this Ripper here from DeMusliM. He's going to be moving down and just keeping track of what Zanster is up to throughout the early stages. Factory going to jump on towards the reactor, and there is going to be the starport on the way as well. So no super fast free CC despite the size of the map, despite the ease of this third base to be taken. It can still be a pretty fast third though, you know, wall off here with the third at 4-ish minutes, 4 and a bit. I guess it's a bit weird because you don't usually wall off on this low ground, right? So a little bit intriguing. Alright guys, not gonna lie, this game is about to get put on the sideline because there is an L12 pool drone pull going on between Bly and TLO. So we're just gonna put this early game ZVT on the sideline as we watch, not Bly TLO, Bly Lambo. As we watch to see how Lambo is going to try and deal with this. He's going to try and hold on top of the ramp against these drones already. That's not going so well just yet, though. As we are going to be having the, well, Lings and drones coming in towards the mineral line. Just wants to buy time for his Zerglings to pop. We'll start to move down to the low ground here. Low ground obviously means he doesn't have to worry so much about the spine crawlers. And his goal here might not be fight those spine crawlers. Let's see, he starts to fight now. It's awkward for Lambo. He doesn't have a full surround available to him at the moment. So that does suck just a little bit. As we do see the drones continue to fight. Lambo's down at 11 workers versus 9. Spines might finish, but again, he can mine from the low ground. Queen's on the way up here. It looks as though Lambo, I think Lambo's held on in this scenario. Yes, the spines are an annoyance, but how do you bring them back down to the low ground? It's actually very difficult to do. It's much more difficult than you might usually think, and already one spine trying to come down. Lings have a surround. Drones didn't even need to be pulled here, and that spine crawler will be shut down. So first spine crawler shut down, and that's now, well, there's still going to be 3 spines to bring down to the low ground. Another one going to try to. This one's going to be protected by a spine crawler on the high ground, actually. Oh, is it? Depends where exactly you're looking. We'll start to get down there. Lambo ahead by 3 workers. This game obviously getting pretty intense at the moment. And as we're going to see, drones will probably pull in to fight this, I guess. But against triple spine, it might just be better for him to wait a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer, as long as possible. He still has the hatch in the main base he can go back to if the natural hatchery falls, remember. That actually is something to really keep in mind, because it actually will be pretty important, probably, at this stage. By the way, just to quickly mention the picture-in-picture TvZ, there is a Viking shooting down Overlords, and there is, you know, some Hellions. Still not really much going on. A fast spy for Zanster, but again, we're getting back to that soon. It's just right now, this ZVZ is obviously getting intense. Hatchery will go down. Here we go. He's going to fight with the Broodlings. Makes sense, although the Ling's getting a little bit blocked. He's going up the ramp. Actually, another Spine Crawler coming up here. 4 spines, is that enough? Spine Crawler is blocked by an Evo Chamber as well, means no full surround. Has Bly done this with the spines? Oh, one Spine Crawler dies. The other Spine Crawler dies. Going back to the high ground. Lambo has done it, I think. The spines don't have enough damage output. He's going to have a few more Lings and drones fighting. If Lambo can just mine with a couple of drones, 3 drones left. Oh my god, this game was so close. 2 more Lings pop out. Lambo's only got 2 drones remaining. I think that's already game over, though. Oh, what an insane game. What an insane game as EVZ here. 4 against 8 supply. But Bly has more drones mining. He has a spine in Lambo's base. You just don't recover from that, I think. Bly has it. Alright, well, back to the TvZ then, guys. This is the matchup we're focusing on. It was fun to watch that spine crawler drone pull in action. Bly, by the way, has just taken the game. Lambo has just tapped out. So Bly taking game number 1. Wow, what a way to take the first game of a qualifying matchup in the WCS Challenger qualifiers. A 4 on the way out here from DeMusliM. He's playing mech as we play catch-up in this game. Zanster opted for that fast spire. His mutas have just now started to take to the map. So we are just going to see the mutas just starting to come out right here. And he's starting to come down the right-hand side. 4 factories starting to build. Melee upgrades from Zanster. It is mech, so I mean melee isn't always the best way to go about that, obviously. Has to be a little bit careful. Mutas coming down through the south, obviously trying to see if they can get in towards the mineral line here in the near future. Try and start doing some damage. 4s are out, so I mean the anti-air is there. As he arrives, there's already a missile turret here as well, so in that regard, not looking too great for Zanster to begin with. He gets a few SCPs, but it's not crazy amounts of damage, considering how much he's invested into. It's not a ton of mutas, but you got to remember it's these mutas plus the fact he built a spire. It delays other tech choices. It's early in the game that these mutas are coming up. Crazy. Well, we are going to see 16 more drones on the way out right now. Infestation bit being built as well. +1 melee and carapace upgrades too. +1 flyer attack upgrade as well from Zanster. So that's about to finish up here. Still really, I mean, he's committing so hard to these mutas, but I kind of feel like cancel the flyer attack upgrade. What's that going to do against the side of it? Surely you're not actually going to try and do this again, right? Like, surely you're not actually going to try and make more mutas and fight with mutas? Cancel the +1 flyer attack, put your gas elsewhere. I know it's just 100, but I just don't see what he gains from this. Unless later in the game, I guess, the Corruptors gain something from that, so maybe it is worth keeping in that regard. I guess that's something to think about. You know, if you think more than 5 seconds ahead in the game, probably is kind of smart to keep it. Hive coming up here from Zanster, of course. I mean, Roaches too, getting to that point where he is starting to get the units out, which he needs to be able to deal with this. Some more Hellions coming down. Couple of tanks, couple of forcing themselves up with these Marines. Obviously, this 4th base is already very safe. Talked a bit about this at the very start of this TvZ, where this really is the this really is the kind of map where you can take 4 bases so easily, and even from there, the 5th base becomes very accessible too. So it's going to be intriguing. Lings and Banes from Zanster just gathering it up. I mean, obviously, DeMusliM being pretty passive with the mech, not going to push just yet, really just building up until he has the upgrades and the army that he wants. A few Hellions broken away and a few Lings and Banes. We'll just continue to come along. Some more Hellions. Left-hand side's the tank-friendly fire that does more than anything else. They will maybe hit a mineral line. 2 Lings, this 1 tank's going after it. Now just 1 Ling, not going to be able to do enough. Roaches are just going to be coming back towards the upper right-hand side, so Roaches coming back up towards the upper right-hand side. The missile turrets are able to fight their way through the Mutalisks, and they are going to be able to shut that down again. The Muta is definitely not the intention in terms of being able to find a way into this. 17 Corruptors on the way out, so obviously Broodlord's a real option here from Zanster to be able to deal with this mech, but here we go, the pre-Broodlord push. So getting this ready to go. Aliens, tanks. It's just so much Lings and Banes in this army still. I'm not sure if that's really going to find any value. And right now, 17 Corruptors are actually just dead army weight. So Zanster's going to have to give up at least 1 base, if not more, while he tries to get these Broodlords out. There's tanks left at home from DeMusliM to defend. Let's see how well this goes for Zanster as he starts to push on forwards. The tank's already doing quite a lot of damage here, honestly. The Roach numbers are already thinning out massively. I mean, even if it's just a few Roaches left over, it almost feels manageable. DeMusliM continues to push forwards here. Scan doesn't find the Broodlords left yet. They're actually in the main base. But he could get this base pulled back down to the south and get that base. If you get those bases, well then Zanster is working with very low economy moving forwards, and DeMusliM is just set up so nicely. There's still Marines in this mech army because DeMusliM just barely lost anything this game. Lings being made about to pop out their eggs. Hellions and Hellbats working their way through this over here. And here come the Broodlords. This is where DeMusliM should probably think about unsieging and going elsewhere. Anti-armor missile on the Corruptors probably not going to allow for much to happen. The Broodlings should force this back. These drones are on the wrong side of the map. Is this base of DeMusliM still under fire here? Both players losing workers. Tanks and fours just going to keep on pulling away. Again, you pull away to this south side. These units are still faster than Broodlords, which means they will be able to just kind of kite along, get this base, and keep on going. Seeing those tanks continue to fire away. The fours continue to keep on going right now. Looking away at a couple of these corruptors. DeMusliM looking good to try and pick up this 2-0 at the moment. Another hatchery here from Zanster going to be found and most likely killed before anything gets there to defend it. He has a base on the top side, so separated from anything else that he owns right now, though. So see those tanks running once again, and obviously now DeMusliM 5-4s at a time, building up Vikings. He's getting the anti-air that he needs to keep on fighting against this. Wow. Scan comes down, Corruptors, Brootlords, Queens, moving in towards the center of the map at the moment to maybe go for kind of just an onslaught to end the game. And I think he needs to end the game, right? I mean, he has 1-2 bases, third over here, sort of, which is currently being killed by Hellions. He doesn't have what he needs to continue in this, so he needs to win this game now with the Broods. And, well, I mean, the Viking count isn't great, but the 4 count is actually pretty good. And these 4s, if they go on top of the Broodlords for just a few moments, actually do pretty crazy amounts of damage. The tanks and the Hellbats just being used to clean up the Broodlings. The 4s are getting their way through this. The Broodlords are going down. GG and good luck to Zanster. DeMusliM moves through to play against Stefano in the next round of competition.